Has History. I'm Janet Comer.
And I'm Ashley Glaze. Janet, on the way over here, I noticed there were tons of different churches. Why is that? Why don't we just have one?
Well, you can thank the guy Martin Luther for that.
Martin Luther King Jr.
Oh no, that guy was from the 60s. I'm talking about the guy who lived in Germany in the year 1517.
Well, that makes him old, but it doesn't explain why there was tons of churches.
Well, that's true. He was a priest, he was a professor, he had access to the Bible, and he was concerned that the Roman Catholic Church was not meeting the needs of the people, because the people back then, they needed to know that they were saved and going to heaven.
Well, that's a good concern to have.
Back then, the Bible was only written in Latin, and so he, being a professor and a priest, he had access to the Bible and he was reading through it, and he felt like the Roman Catholic Church was leading the people astray and not really giving them the true facts on how to be saved.
Well, if it's written in Latin, what language do they speak?
They were in Germany, so they spoke German.
Okay. Well, that makes sense that Martin Luther then was thinking that they weren't getting the correct information.
One of the concerns that he had about the Catholic Church was the selling of the indulgences.
What's an indulgence?
An indulgence is just a sheet of paper that was written in Latin that helped your loved one get out of purgatory sooner.
Okay, so let me get this straight. It's a piece of paper written in a language that they cannot read.
True.
That is supposed to take time off purgatory.
Yes.
What's purgatory?
When a loved one dies, it is believed that their soul goes to purgatory. It is a place between heaven and hell, and you will go and you will give money to the church to get this piece of paper, which is the indulgence, to get your loved one out of this holding place, and so that their soul can go into heaven quicker.
Okay, so I understand purgatory, I understand the indulgence, but they're supposed to pay money for this?
Right. Now, Martin Luther felt like that was the job of the priest. The priest should just go and pray for their loved one to go on into heaven, not that the people should have to pay for it. So he felt like the poor people were getting poor because they were spending all their money to get their loved one out of purgatory and on into heaven.
Okay, so his main reason was corruption in the church. Was there anything else that made him want to try to put some reforms in there?
Well, he was looking at politics. He was looking at the riches of the church. They were using all that money for their big, huge cathedrals and things. And so he made a long list of things that he had a complaint about the church. In fact, he came out with 95 reasons that he wanted the church to make reforms.
95?
Yes. And so it's become known as the 95 Theses. And he takes this long list and he takes it to the church door and he nails it to the church door so everybody can come to the church door and read his complaints.
I don't understand that. Why didn't he just put it on Facebook?
I'm sorry, but Facebook is relatively new and he couldn't do it.
Well, Facebook's faster. How did they get it out?
Well, actually, the invention of the printing press was created, and so now it's a movable type to it. And they were able to print thousands of copies and get it out to the people a lot faster. So they could all go through and read through all of the things that Martin Luther was protesting about the church and wanted them to go back and reform.
Well, what did the Catholic Church have to say about this?
Ooh, they were not happy at all about that. And they did not want to change. And they went and they took Martin Luther and they threw him in jail and told him that he would have to recant everything that he had said.
Well, Martin Luther, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who's going to take that back.
Ooh, no, he did not. Now, he thought about it a lot. He didn't know what to do. He did not want to recant his story, which, was saying that he was a liar. He made it all up. And so
I have one quick question.
Well, what?
So he did all of this just to reform the Catholic Church. Was there no personal benefit to this?
Well, there was, actually. One of the things was the priest couldn't get married, and he wanted to get married and have children. He felt like it was important to have a helpmate there with him.
I see. I just want to make sure that there was possibly some other reason to sit in jail.
Yes.
I mean, normally there's got to be a girl behind it somewhere.
And there was. And he does get married.
Back to him being in jail. How did he get out?
That's right. He was in jail. The Roman Catholic Church brought him up for a trial and asked him, they put all of his books in front of him on the table and asked him to recant and say that everything that he had said was a lie and he'd made it up, and he stood there and he thought and he didn't know what to do, and finally he just said, no, I can't. I put a lot of thought into this, but no, what I'm saying is the truth.
Good for him, sticking to it.
Well, you know what the church did then?
I'm afraid to ask.
Well, they excommunicated him, which means they kicked him out of the church.
So he's not dead.
No, he's not dead.
Okay.
Okay, but then they make him an outlaw. They pass an edict of Worms, and that makes him an outlaw, which means they don't really care what happens to him.
Oh. So I could go kill him and nothing would happen to him?
Yeah, because no one would care. They wouldn't even go looking for him.
I might have to put that on my to-do list.
Actually, this guy by the name of Frederick from Saxony, he goes with some buddies, and they ride up on horses because the Roman Catholic Church was taking Martin Luther somewhere else. And they came up on horses, and they threw a sack over his head, and they kidnapped him and drug him away. And everybody assumed that he had been killed, and they didn't even care. They didn't even look for him.
What was Martin Luther thinking? Was he thinking he's about to die? Did he die?
He probably freaked out. Wouldn't you be freaking out if someone came and got you off of a carriage with putting a sack over your head and drug you out?
Okay, maybe a little.
A little bit.
A little.
Okay. Well, he didn't die. It turned out it was a friend of his.
Oh, well that's handy.
So he was like, oh my gosh, thank goodness. But Martin Luther goes into hiding for about 2.5 years. And in that time, he spends it writing the Bible, not in Latin, but in the language of the people so they could read it themselves.
Well, good for him. Way to be productive.
Very good. Well, you know what? In the meantime, a lot of stuff's going to go on because you get the peasants who are all upset. They think that Martin Luther has been killed. He has stirred up a lot of stuff. He's protested. He wanted reform. The Catholic Church didn't want to make reforms. And so now you've got a lot of wars and battles going on.
Wait, Martin Luther, wars and battles, they don't sound like they go together.
I know, but he was a radical dude anyways, obviously.
Well, did he want people to die for it?
Oh no, you know, he got stir crazy after a while being locked up in the cabin and all. And so finally he breaks out and goes out and he sees that there has been a peasant revolt that's been going on. In fact, it wasn't more of a revolt, it was a revolution.
So Martin Luther didn't break away from the church, the peasants did for him?
Well, there was lots of battles going on between the Catholics and the Protestants. And finally, you end up with a Catholic who said, you know what, we need to take a look at our doctrine and kind of review everything and see what we need to make changes on. So they ended up forming something called the Council of Trent, where they had priests and bishops and all kind of important people who came in and sat down and over time went through the doctrine and reestablished and reaffirmed what they believed in.
Important question. Did they wear wigs and long robes?
Of course they did. Why would you show up without that? That's the fun part.
Well, I was just checking their fashion.
Okay. I'm glad you were. It's the important part
It
of
is.
all of this.
So I wanted to make sure we got that.
We did have this one group called the Society of Jesus. Ignatius of Loyola was the leader of this group, and they were reaffirmed by the Catholic Church. They supported them. And so what they did was they tried to educate the people through literature and things, and the Catholic Church was like, go! Society of Jesus, awesome! Great job!
So wait, they tried to change society through education?
Yes.
Well, what a novel idea.
I thought so too. I like that.
So is Germany the only place that this took place at, or after Martin Luther did the Protestant Reformation take place elsewhere?
Oh, it spread like wildfire. One of the next places is going to be Switzerland. There was a guy by the name of Ulrich Zwingli. It kind of sounds Switzerland-like, doesn't he?
He does.
And so he was the leader of the group. Unfortunately, he got killed on the battlefield. You know, his body was cut up and, you know, burned and thrown across everywhere. So, you know, he
He was
died.
cut up and burned, and well, maybe it wasn't too healthy to be a part of the Protestant Reformation.
Well, the Catholic Church did not like the Protestant Church, and the Protestants didn't want the Catholic Church telling them they couldn't do what they wanted to do. And so you ended up with a new guy, John Calvin. He's going to leave France, and he's going to go to Switzerland, and he's going to be the leader now of this new movement in Switzerland.
Can I guess the name of it?
Yes, guess the name of it.
Calvinism.
Calvinism is correct.
Yeah.
Very good. Now, he disagreed with Martin Luther, which his religion became, do you know what Martin Luther's religion became?
Lutheranism.
You are good. A+ for you.
Does that mean I get to have Ashleyism?
No.
Oh.
Doesn't mean that at all. Gee
All right.
whiz. So anyways, Calvinism, John Calvin, followed pretty much everything that Martin Luther did, except for the fact that he believed in predestination.
What is that?
That means that God has predetermined when you're born whether or not you're going to make it into heaven or hell.
Okay, so if I go out and kill someone, it doesn't matter?
No, that's not what I said.
It sounded like it.
Gee whiz, no.
Then what are you saying?
I'm saying that God knows whether or not you are going to be a righteous person or a person that kills people, and He predetermined, based on all of that, whether you're going to go to heaven. So if you're going to go out and kill somebody, then we can just say that God did not predetermine you were going to make it to heaven.
Okay, that's fair. But just John Calvin, is he like a lively kind of guy at least? Like someone that you can relate to?
Oh, I wouldn't say so. I mean, he is going to form a government body called the Consistory, and he's going to let this Consistory go out and look at the people and watch them. And if they do anything, like dancing or singing or playing cards.
Wait, I can't do my Zumba?
Oh, heavens no. Because you know what's going to happen? You're going to be punished because that's sinful.
Oh.
I can't even believe you do Zumba. It's so sinful.
Wait.
John
We're not part of
Calvin.
Calvinism?
Oh, it's a good thing because you'd be gone.
Oh, when you said dancing and then
Dancing.
gambling,
And singing obscene songs. Whatever obscene songs meant.
I guess that means like, no. Who are the rappers today? Eminem? No.
Oh, heavens no.
Who is that guy? Jay-Z?
Oh, no.
No. Oh.
No.
So we have Calvinism and we have Lutheranism. Does it stop there?
Well, have you ever heard of the guy named King Henry VIII?
Yes, there's an HBO show about him. That guy?
I don't know. I haven't seen the show.
Oh. Well, there's the HBO show and it has Henry VIII.
Okay. Well, what did you learn on it?
Well, that he had a lot of wives.
How many?
I don't know. I'm still watching the episodes.
Okay. I'm going to give you a heads up. 6.
Oh. That is a lot of wives.
Yeah, there's a lot of wives. Well, do you know anything about him and how he changed the church?
No, I basically just know that he was very wife-like.
Kind of like a soap opera, huh?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, Henry VIII is going to change the church from Catholic to Anglican Church. The Anglican Church, which is the Church of England. Okay. And so what he wants is he wants a divorce. He is married to a lady who has given him a daughter, and he wants to have a son because he needs a son for the heir of the throne. And she's too old. He wants to be rid of her and marry a younger girl. And so he goes to the Pope and asks for a divorce. The Pope says, no, 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 no. And he's like, well, fine. I'm just going to pass a law, act of supremacy. I am now the leader of the church. We're going to make the church Protestant. And now I'm going to divorce my wife and marry my other wife.
I think I know this story. Is that other person Anne Boleyn?
Correct, it is.
Now I know why he needed a divorce. What, is it the same as the HBO show? Because I kind of don't know.
I don't know, this is a show.
Well, in the HBO show, she was kind of already pregnant, and so that's why he was kind of hurrying the divorce
That's true.
along. Oh.
Because after, I think, what was it, just a month after he married her, she had the baby?
I think so.
Was it a girl or a boy?
Girl.
Oh, that kind of sucks for him, doesn't it?
Does he ever have a boy?
He does eventually have a boy. His name's Edward. But that's another story.
Oh, okay. Well, are there any other churches besides that? We have the Church of England and Lutheranism and the first Protestant Reformation, which was Lutheranism.
Correct.
Calvinism, Zwingli, who got chopped up.
Correct.
The Catholic Reformation. Am I missing anything?
Well, there's more to come, but we'll talk about that in another story.
Sounds great.